Welcome to the Conversation in Colons podcast. I'm your host, Damien, my co host, Jared.
Hi.
Welcome
Sorry, I was
back.
just living back in the times where you used to sing the iCarly intro every time you'd count it down.
I did used to do that, yes. Um, been 3 weeks. We apologize. Well, actually, I think
Fuck, it has.
it's been 3 weeks or close to a month.
Yeah,
Um,
it's been we missed
so
two episodes.
yeah, we hope you had a great holiday or holidays, New Year's, Christmas. Kind of took a break, just kind of wasn't feeling it
A
for
personal time.
for 2 weeks. So we are back. We've actually been working while we haven't been doing the podcast for the podcast. We've actually been like doing stuff for it. So don't worry, it's not like we're just coming back to nothing. Um, but talk about our movies award show. We're gonna do that
Yeah.
next week. We're gonna kind of go over it. Movies have been pretty rough this year, and I feel like our award show for it isn't as good as it could have been because of the movies. Like we can't really talk a lot about them because there's not a lot of movies on there where I feel like super passionate about talking. Um, and so we'll push that till next week. It'll be like a small portion of next week's podcast, which we'll announce what we're doing next week later on the show. But before we start our actual main thing that we've been working on, two things. One, I go see Scream 5 tomorrow, so I will have
Ooh.
a review of that next week, or I might just make a separate video, a small like 5-minute review and post it. And then we have some game leaks to talk about regarding the PlayStation event that's coming. I think next week. Hold on. Yeah, so it's coming in February. Okay. Could be on the 3rd, so February 3rd. It's gonna feature that Saifu game, that like kung fu game that they've been showing a lot of over like the
Don't know if I've
past
seen that.
year. And then the main thing, which relates to what we're gonna be talking about today, is apparently there's gonna be a large gameplay featurette on the new Harry Potter game that is going to be the main game at the showcase that they're gonna like end it with. Because that
Fuck
game comes
yeah.
out this year. Only on PS5 right now, from what I was seeing. I think I don't know if they've announced it on other consoles, or no, maybe they did, but the PlayStation has like the
Exclusive rights.
not like the exclusive rights, but like they're the main ones showing it.
Yeah.
Um, what is that game called? I forget. I can't think right now. What was that game called?
The Harry Potter game?
Yeah.
Isn't it it's something
Hogwarts
Hogwarts. I know.
Legacy.
Oh yeah, Hogwarts Legacy.
Um,
Or is it not Legacy of Hogwarts or is it
no, it's
Hogwarts
Hogwarts
Legacy?
Legacy.
Okay.
Uh,
Hogwarts.
okay, yeah, so it'll be on Xbox and PC and everything. So,
Sweet.
I just got confused there for a second. And yeah, it's going to be a pretty big featurette, and then there's going to be another state of play at the end of March, which will be focused on the later half of 2022. So that's when we'll see God of War if God of War doesn't get delayed. We'll see the VR2, which we'll talk about here in a second.
Oh yeah.
Ghostwire Tokyo, which is like that weird horror game that I
Oh
actually
okay.
might play. Um, and then those Last of Us projects are finishing up. You have the Last of Us multiplayer game, slash,
Oh, I forgot about that.
yeah, it's gonna be like a battle royale kind of thing, which that game lends itself to really well.
Yeah.
Hopefully it's done right. And then that Last of Us remake game that we've been talking about for the past year. Apparently it's almost done. So that could be
Hmm.
released this year or next year, but we should definitely be getting some type of confirmation of those games. Um, but yeah, Hogwarts Legacy, we talked about it. That was like our most like anticipated game, tied with God of War, and so I can't wait to see it. But hey, uh, when it comes to their state of plays, they usually announce it like the week before, so we have a little bit of time. But yeah, so that's exciting. But Jared, we have been watching some movies. Kind of already teased it.
Yes,
Me
we
and
have.
Jared over the past week and a half have went through and watched all the Harry Potters. 1 through 8, and we are ranking them today. We wanted to do this because of the anniversary that just came out on HBO Max, which was phenomenal. If you like
Yeah.
Harry Potter at all, definitely be watching that. Um,
The shit had me tearing up a few times.
yeah,
It's like,
it was crazy.
damn.
Obviously, you guys have heard me talk lengths about Harry Potter, how much I love it. And I think it's the best like saga when it comes to like a single franchise. I like it better than Star Wars, Lord of the Rings, all that.
Yeah.
And even with Jared, when we were watching this, Jared, I think, found a new appreciation for the movies in a whole.
Oh yeah.
And that,
I mean, it had been over a decade since I'd seen all these movies. The one I remembered the most, for whatever reason, was the hold on, Prisoner of Azkaban. That's the
yeah,
one I remembered most, and I don't even remember the last time I saw it. But it's definitely been over a decade since I've seen all these before, and like you said, absolutely a new appreciation for them. They're great movies.
yep. Um, yeah, let's get right into it. We're gonna go from worst to best, and I would
Okay.
just like to state again, there's no bad Harry Potter movies, just which one you kind of prefer.
Yeah.
And I feel like with Harry Potter, especially like with these rankings, everyone has a different favorite movie, and it's okay if yours is different from ours. You can let us know your rankings. It's just our opinions. But let's go ahead and get into it, Jared. What is your number 8?
Alrighty. My number 8 is going to be the first movie, Sorcerer's Stone.
Okay, why?
Uh, Honestly, I just don't like the feel of this one. Well, that's not true because there's a lot about this movie that I like. But the whole part with the actual Sorcerer's Stone and the one professor I don't remember the name of at the end, I just don't care for that ending. I don't care for the him touching him, turning to stone, all that shit.
Kind of
I love the lead up.
anticlimactic.
It is, yeah, that's a good way to put it. But I love the lead up. I love the chess match they have. I like the puzzles before that. And I really like a lot. I mean, it's the introduction to Harry Potter, like, on the big screen, so there's a lot about it that I do like and I do love.
Mm,
But also for whatever reason, like, when I compare the Dumbledore, I forget the guy's name. I just looking at it the other day. Um, but yeah, Dumbledore from 1 and 2, I just don't like as much as the Dumbledore from the rest of the movies. Not that he's a bad Dumbledore. It's just when I compare them, I like the authoritative figure that he is in the later movies compared to how quiet and soft he is in the first ones. Not again, not that he's a bad Dumbledore by any means. But I guess that's gonna be my hits on it.
okay. So my number eight's also the same, Sorcerer's Stone. Uh, Typically when it comes to like big major franchises, I don't really care for the first movie. I'm not a
Yeah.
setup kind of person, and this movie does have a really slow pace when it comes to like setting up the world of Harry Potter, and it's understandable. It's the first movie. They didn't expect like this movie to do so well. Like,
Yeah.
it was kind of just a do it, test the waters. Chris Columbus, I mean, directed a pretty good movie. Um, yeah, I agree with the ending. I do feel like it's anticlimactic. I love the adventures that they go on, like fighting the troll in the bathroom. Then you have the
Yeah,
chess
that's right.
scene, and having to escape the dogs and stuff. And I do think I love the friendship. Like you can see it immediately. Like Ron, Harry, and Hermione like feel like real friends
Yeah.
immediately, and you love like the banner between all of them and their chemistry. So, yeah, Sorcerer's Stone for me. So what is your number 7, Jared?
So my number 7 is going to be movie number 2, The Chamber of Secrets.
Okay.
And a lot of the same things about the first one here, except for the ending fight, or the, I guess not the bot. I don't know why I almost call it that, but like
The
the
antagonist.
climax of the movie, the
Yeah.
antagonist. I really love, and this is one thing I forgot when I watched this movie. By the way, to preface this, we watched 3 through 8. We did not watch the first two movies together. I went back and rewatched them because I didn't remember them, and I wanted to have seen them before the ranking. Um, that being said, for this one, the whole thing, like, about Tom Riddle's diary, that, like, threw me off. I didn't remember, like, I completely forgot about it. Uh, it and the thing is, like, I watched these out of order, I should clarify. we watched 3 and 4, and then I went and watched 1 and 2, and then we watched the rest. So after seeing some of the stuff from Goblet of Fire, and then seeing stuff from Chamber of Secrets, is what made me a little bit more like, oh shit, like this is like so serious so early with um, oh my god, oh my, what's his fucking name?
Voldemort, Tom Riddle, Harry Potter.
Oh my god, Voldemort. Yes. I was like, you can't say his name. And I was like, oh
Yeah,
wait, what is his name?
you're like, oh
Fucking
shit, I
anyway,
forgot his name.
the fucking story with Voldemort so early and Tom Riddle and everything that happens with that, it is very interesting. Um Pretty much like you kind of said before with setup, I feel there's a lot more of this in this movie from the first one. Obviously less than the first one, but yeah, there's not much else I have to say about that. Chamber
Yeah,
of Secrets was better than the first one, but not better than the rest. Pretty much how I
yeah.
feel about it.
So my number seven is also the same thing, Chamber of Secrets. I think I put it over Sorcerer's Stone because I do think the final battle or the last act is really good. And I feel like overall this movie has more significance in the whole saga itself. You know, because even in the last movie, they go back to the Chamber of Secrets and get the Basilisk Fang, and
Yeah.
finding out that the riddle's a Horcrux, and you know how Harry destroyed it and what it did to the Sword of Gryffindor, and um, it has
Oh, that's
so
another good part
many
too.
big implications of what's to come. I just feel like for a lot of this, like for the rest of the movie, it's just very slow paced. I do like the like murders that they kind of frame up, and it is has or it does have a darker tone than the first one. But Sorcerer's Stone's my least watched Harry Potter movie, like the one I don't ever watch really, and this one's up there as well because I just think it does have a very like slow dragging first act. So yeah,
Yeah.
number two is my number seven. What is your number six, Jared?
Number 6 for me is movie number 5, Order of the Phoenix.
Okay.
Um, the reason I put this so low, is because when I sat and really thought about the rest of the movies, it is hard for me to justify putting Order of the Phoenix higher, only because of, one of the characters that is involved in this movie, and that is, Sirius Black.
Okay.
So, oh, I can't say much else without giving away
Just
another
what?
part of my list.
Oh, okay.
Um, so okay, I'll say this. 5 and 6 are very, 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 very close for me, and I actually changed it 5 and 6 back and forth a few times. So for number 6, Order of the Phoenix, I like this movie a lot. And I think you even told me this was like your favorite movie, which made me want to like pay more attention, like see what the highs and lows of it. I believe this is the movie you said that had a lot of the visual effects that you didn't like, the with the like the blurry outline, or the edges of the screen were blurry. I think you said it was this
No,
one.
that was six.
That is 6. Okay, never mind. Um, okay, then yeah, I'm misremembering. But I do like a lot from this movie with Harry kind of stepping up and starting to teach people how to defend themselves, how they use the room and all that. It like, there's a lot of high points in this movie. But the thing it came down to for me was Sirius Black and his role in this movie, and the reason it ranks here is because the next movie on my list I like better in that terms. I'll explain more then. You
Yeah.
go ahead and do your six.
So my number six is Harry Potter and the Prisoner of Azkaban, which
Wow.
when we're going into this, you know, that movie is usually number one or number two for me, with Order of the Phoenix. And
Yeah.
yeah, you know, I think really going back and watching all the movies kind of back to back style, like I just prefer the movies that tie into the bigger overall story. I do love Azkaban for what it does set up with Sirius Black, and it brings in Professor Lupin, and obviously it brings in Wormtail and stuff like that. Uh,
Yep.
I just feel like this movie's very rushed, and they just kind of throw aspects of certain things into the forefront really quickly, like the time travel, their time turner device. The fact that there's really no setup to that at all, and they just kind of throw it in the third act, and you kind of have to go back through. When the movie, for me, didn't feel like it was ever building up to that. There were some scenes where, like, you know, um, which we'll talk about with Hermione, like yelling to get the wolf away.
Yeah.
And obviously like them saving uh Buckbeat, like, and the rock coming through the
Bucky.
window. So they did set it up, but it just wasn't strong enough for me. And going back and watching this, like, it's just when I look at Harry Potter, there's a few things I want. I want a good story, which this movie has. I want a lot of like really good action, and this movie doesn't really have that. Um, but I think the final act's amazing, and obviously Harry saving himself from the Dementors, like that was a cool twist that they did. So yeah, Prisoner of Azkaban is my number 6. What is your number 5?
So my number 5 is Prisoner of Azkaban.
Okay.
So like I said before, and this is gonna clear up what I said about Order of the Phoenix. These ones were kind of interchangeable for me. I was having a hard time, but it came down to Sirius Black. And in Order of the Phoenix, I think that Sirius Black is great in character development. I love where he ends up, obviously, um, for pretty much forever. But in Prisoner of Azkaban, I love the introduction of his character. I love how he is hyped up as this horrible person. He's so bad, and then they completely turn it around. And they show like how someone can be defaced and how someone can come across as so horrible and so bad when in reality they're a very good person. It just kind of hits on the reality of how that can happen for real, which I like. I like how they put that in there. Also, the time travel stuff that you were talking about is fucking phenomenal. I love it so much. It is great for the story. I do agree with you. Not enough action, which actually is why this one is in 5 compared to what is number 4. Uh, it's funny because my bottom 2 pretty much cemented. My top 3 also pretty much cemented, but these 4, 5, 6 for me were really like I could have put
Yeah.
them in any order. They're very, very, very close. So Prisoner of Azkaban number 5 for me. It's just it was a good movie, and I gotta say that's like I said, this is the movie I remember seeing the most. Like I feel like I definitely watched this the most when I was younger. Watched it a bunch with my dad. Rewatching it was a great feeling, and I honestly want to do this again in like a year or two, and just to rewatch them all, and just keep that going because they're fucking fantastic movies. This
Yep.
one definitely hitting that nostalgia. So,
Yep.
what's your number 5?
My number 5 is Harry Potter and the Half-Blooded Prince. Um, which, I keep saying this, but when I did, like, whenever I thought about like my Harry Potter rankings, I never like put them in stone or like wrote them down. I always felt like I would put this one at the bottom or near the bottom. And rewatching it again, because also this one I didn't really rewatch a lot. There's a lot of
Mhm.
aspects I love about this movie. The cons, I hate the visual effects that they did for this movie, kind of making it blurry on the outside of the shots. It looks too clean. It's a weird look, and I don't like it at all. I love that this is like Malfoy's big movie. Like he gets to come in as his own character, kind of dealing with his inner turmoil. He kind of is forced to do what he has to do. He has all this
Yeah.
pressure from his mom and his dad to do what Voldemort wants him to do, which is kill Dumbledore. And he's struggling because he just doesn't want to. He's not actually a bad guy, And I think that that's a really cool take. And obviously, it comes from the books, but it's a really cool take for the character. And I feel like in this movie they did it well. I also love the flashback scenes and how they kind of portray that in general. Um, and then obviously once we start figuring out about the Horcruxes, which is Slughorn. Yeah, Professor Slughorn. Harry has all his stuff
Yeah.
going on with him, and he kind of has to figure out what Tom Riddle was talking about, what are Horcruxes, and try to get his memory. So I really love that. I also love the scene or the scenes where Harry Potter's reading the book of the Half-Blooded Prince, which is like the potions book, right?
Yeah.
And he uses the spell in the book on Malfoy and almost kills him. You kind of sit there and you see him deal with that. It's just in the bathroom scene, which is what I'm talking about. And him having to realize, like, well, shit, I made a mistake. Like, I literally
Yeah.
almost just killed someone. Like, I have to be careful. I'm turning into what Voldemort wants me to turn into, right? Uh, I think Snape kills in this movie, and obviously him killing Dumbledore at the end of the movie. I love his inner struggle as well. He's one of the like
Oh,
most underrated characters in Harry Potter for me because this man loved Harry's mom so much that was willing to go and be a spy for Dumbledore on Voldemort's side, and
Yep.
he had to kill Dumbledore so that Voldemort would still trust them. Um, it's just a great movie. When I think at the end of this one, I kind of just sat there and was like, wow, I forgot how good that movie was.
Yeah.
So yeah, what is your number 4, Jared?
Before I say my number 4, when you said, like, when Harry uses the spell from the book,
Yeah,
I thought you were talking about at the very end when he uses it on Snape, and he goes,
yeah,
"You dare use my own spell against me, Potter."
yeah,
Like, oh. Anyway,
yeah.
my
It's like
number 4,
it's Sanctum Sepra, I think it's the spell. So yeah,
I think so, yeah, that sounds right. It's Sanctum something.
yeah, Sanctum
Number 4
Sepra.
for me is the 4th movie, Goblet of Fire.
Okay,
So this hits on a lot of things we were talking about, like, that was kinda flawed in Prisoner of Azkaban with a lot of the action. There is so much. It feels like this movie is constantly action. You got obviously the what are they called? The wizarding game. What is it called?
the
The
Triwizard Cup.
Triwizard tournament, right?
Yeah, well, or the cup, whichever one you want to go
Okay, I can't. Yeah. Anyway, the that whole thing happening. You get the uh I'm gonna butcher names. I'm not even trying. So I'm gonna say the school with all the girls,
with. Yeah,
and then the school with all the boys. They come in and they do all this fancy shit, and it's just cool. Like you're getting a lot of stuff going on the screen. And then you go through each of the games. You got the dragons, action. You got, I think the lake is next, right?
yep.
Dragons lake with all the action. And then you go into the maze, which is more action, but with this, it's shorter than the other two events because it, get towards the end of the movie with all the stuff that happens with
Voldemort.
Diggory.
Oh,
No, Diggory. What's
Cedric
his name?
Diggory.
Cedric Diggory. I love that fucking name so much. Yeah, so you have everything that happens there. Great movie. I believe Dallas told me this was his favorite movie,
Yeah,
which again, every time I've heard someone say, "Oh, this is my favorite Harry Potter movie," I'm like, "All right, I want to pay attention, see why." It's a fucking fantastic movie. I like the ball or the dance or whatever it is, the Triwizard, whatever the
the
McDonald
dance.
or yeah, whatever she calls it. With Harry and Ron just kind of sitting there with their twins, just like not dancing, and they're like, "Do you want to do something?" And they're like, "No, go away." And of course, Hermione gets with the stud of the group of the gentlemen. Overall, it's surprisingly good movie. The only negative I have in this movie, and it's actually something I think you and I agree with very much, is Ron's fucking attitude in this movie. He's a little bit of a bitch, and it's like kind of out of nowhere, like it kind of blindsides you. And when he finally comes back and he goes, "Wow, anyone who put their name in that cup or in the goblet of fire must be really, you would never do that." Like he kind of comes back and he's like, "Yeah, I was fucking wrong." It's like, "Yeah, you were, you douche. You were acting that mean to your best friend." It's like the only negative I have in this movie.
Yeah.
Other than that, I think it's a very good movie.
Alrighty, my number 4 is also the Goblet of Fire. I'll touch
Hey,
on the Ron thing real quick. I feel like that's a storyline. Like I know it came in the Goblet of Fire book, but I feel like that storyline should have came earlier on in the film somehow because you've went through 3 years of school with Harry. I feel like you'd have a lot of trust in your best friend.
pretty
Um,
much.
but that's I really love that this is kind of the start of the Hermione and Ron relationship. You kind of start seeing the things that they're dropping.
Jealousy.
Yeah, Ron being jealous that she's at the ball and how good she looks at the ball with Crumb. Um, and uh, his just kind of whole attitude towards that. I love the scene where Ron has to dance with Professor McGonagall. Yeah, that
Yes.
scene's really good, really funny.
So good.
She's like, "Put your hand on my waist," and he's like, "What?" Um,
On your what? On your
yep.
where?
Uh, yeah, I mean, I
So good.
think the action when it comes to like the dragon fights, like the CGI holds up really well from this movie. It's from like 2006. Looks really good. Um,
Yeah.
I love the dragon fight. I love how Harry fights it. I think Cedric Diggory's a pretty cool character, even though this is like,
Cedric Diggory.
he doesn't have a lot of like screen time, but they do make him likable real fast. Um,
Yeah, he's a great character, and
yeah,
the name helps.
the name helps. I wish the underwater scene was a little bit longer. I feel like they could have done
Yeah.
more in that sequence. I do love that Harry saved Ron and think her name's LaFleur, her sister. Um,
Oh yeah.
that's cool. I love how Harry has to like use Mad Eye Moody to like, or Mad Eye Moody has to basically like steer Harry towards the win in different ways. And it's cool that you figure out he was setting up everyone to be around him in the right place. Um, and yeah, when you get towards the ending where, you know, you get to meet Voldemort again, he gets like reborn. You get to see him for the first time. I think it's a really cool character intro, and the fact that he just kills Cedric Diggory right there, and it hits so hard when he dies, and I can't
Yeah.
explain why. Like he's a good character, but like when he dies, I'm like, holy shit.
It's
And
just like it's that first like the very first thing we get out of Voldemort is immediately murdering somebody that like
yeah,
they're starting to introduce to someone to love.
yeah,
Which by the way, Voldemort doesn't technically kill him. Uh fucking the rat guy.
well,
I always
Rattail
forget his
does,
name.
yeah, but Voldemort or
Rattail technically
Wormtail,
does.
yes,
Wormtail.
but Voldemort tells him to kill him, so that's
Yeah, no, Voldemort does say kill the spare, but
yeah,
I think it's interesting because people say Voldemort killed Cedric Diggory.
well, right,
Technically, Wormtail
yeah,
did.
um. Yeah, the whole interaction between Harry and Voldemort is thrilling, and I love that they kind of have that battle, and Harry's parents come out of the thing, and they say, "We'll give you time to get away from him," right? And they attack Voldemort, and he gets away. And then the scene where he's laying on the ground crying on Cedric Diggory's body, and that music's going off. It's all happy, and he's just on a dead
He's
body,
just there sobbing.
and
Yeah.
having to watch like his father like see what's going on. Like
A
he's
boy has
happy,
died.
yeah, he's happy, and then just see him like slowly like what the fuck's going on, and then him screaming "my boy" and "my boy."
My
Yeah,
boy.
and then obviously
Yeah.
the twist that Professor Mad Eye Moody wasn't actually Mad Eye Moody, which they teased a lot with the tongue action and the way he was kind of drinking the polyjuice potion.
Yeah.
Yeah, Goblet of Fire is really good. I think from like 4 and up, it's just all masterpieces. It's just all
Oh yeah.
masterpieces. So, what is your
Very
number
good.
3?
All right, my number 3 is The Deathly Hallows Part 2.
Yeah.
Um, so like I said, uh, the the bottom 2 cemented. Then we have the middle 3 that were like, they could have interchanged. These last 3, I'm confident in where I put them, but I have to be honest, it felt like it was very close because the final 3 the final 3 movies in my opinion are just great. I mean, they're so good. It's everything led up to these. So Deathly Hallows Part 2, it's the end. So obviously I'm sad to see it end, but we have to talk about how good it is. There's so much that happens in part 2 that is so fucking good. One of my favorite lines or favorite parts is when McGonagall, always pronounce it
McGonagall.
right. McGonagall. McGonagall. When she does the spell to get all the stone warriors down, and she's like, I've always wanted to use that spell.
Yeah.
Fucking great. All the running around they do, uh, which I'm fuck, I'm mixing them up, aren't I?
No, they do a lot of running around in part 2.
Yeah, but in part 2, they're like specifically going where the Horcruxes are, right?
Mhm.
But in part 1 is when they're running around because they can't find them. Am
Right.
I mixing that up?
Part 1's when they're in the woods mostly.
Mostly, that's right. Okay. Part 2 is when they're like kind of getting out of the woods and places because part 2 is when
They go to the
Ron
bank
leaves
and
for a
stuff.
bit, right?
No, part 1's when he leaves.
Okay, then I'm okay. I just want to make sure I'm getting these right. So part 2, yeah, the bank, they're
Then
all
so like they go to the
okay, yeah.
bank, and then they realize a lot of the other Horcruxes are at Hogwarts, and they just go to
Oh, and
Hogwarts
that's
as
when they go
well.
for that's right. So the beginning okay, so that's I'm just making sure I have this right. So the running around that happens in the beginning before they end up because
Yeah.
most of the movie, well, not most, but like a good chunk of the movie ends up being at Hogwarts,
No, like
right?
75% of it's like Hogwarts. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, so Deathly Hallows Part 2, and it's great. Every fucking part of everything that happens at Hogwarts is so fucking good. When they meet Dumbledore's brother and like get the back passage in, it's so great. I love like when Snape's addressing everyone and Harry just walks on. You it seems you have the fucking slip in your defenses there, headmaster. It's just so ballsy, so awesome.
And he looks at him, how dare
Um,
you? How dare you defy someone who
how dare
trusted
you
you?
stand where he
Yeah.
stood? Yeah, it's fucking awesome. Yeah, that's admittedly I mixed up Deathly Hollows part 1 and part 2 a bit, but no, I'm sticking here with why part 2 is in third place. While everything is good, I felt that part 2 had to be in position 3 for me just because of how everything happened in the end. And the way it all happened. Not that it was bad, because it was good, but I feel like everything that happens in these next movies that I'm going to rank just hit a little bit better than this. So
Okay.
what is your number 3?
Mine is Harry Potter and the Order of the Phoenix. And I mean, what to say about this movie? I think her name's Professor Umbridge. She's, I mean, besides Voldemort, the villain or person I hate the most.
That's right.
The
That's
Pink
she
Lady.
comes in that one, doesn't she?
Yes, and
Oh, I talked about how much I hated her the whole time. I forgot about that.
yeah. So I love what they do with her character and how she's like this authoritarian person from the ministry, from the government, and you know she's trying to take away their rights to self-defense because the government will protect them. That's kind of her whole spiel. It's a good lesson, you know, to defy against, right? But
Yep.
I mean, she is truly an evil character. The way like she makes Harry write, I solemnly swear I will not tell no lies, and it's like as he's writing, it's written into his skin. And then later on in the movie, she's making everyone do that, even little children. And then they were making oh no, that's actually a different movie.
No, that's
Yes.
the same movie.
No, I'm talking the next thing I was gonna say. I
Oh,
know that's
sorry.
the same movie. So yeah, her character, it's weird to say, she's a very good villain. And you don't really expect it, but she's really good. I think Sirius Black dying is a really big punch.
Yeah.
And the fact that Bellatrix does it too is just like out of
She
nowhere.
comes in this movie, doesn't she?
Bellatrix?
Yeah. At the very beginning, she breaks out with a few others.
Yeah, no, I think it's Goblet of Fire she comes in.
Really? Is it
Oh no,
because
it is Order of the Phoenix. It is Order of the Phoenix. Yeah, yeah,
okay. Dude, it's
yeah.
I gotta be honest with you, they're so good at these fucking movies. It's hard to remember what happens in which movie.
Yeah. Uh
Ah,
yeah, no, it's Order of the Phoenix. I
okay.
think Lucius Malfoy has a bigger role in this, and I feel like does a pretty good job at being like this bigger, darker presence. And when we get towards the end of the movie where they're in the Ministry of Magic and they're having to, you know, fight all of these Death Eaters, and then like Sirius Black comes in and Lupin comes in, they come and save the day, and then bam, Sirius Black's dead, just immediately ripped out. And I love the scene where like Bellatrix running away and the sound goes mute and you can see Harry screaming and it's just kind of silent there. I love when movies do that because I don't know why, it just conveys it stronger to me than just hearing him
Yeah.
screaming. And then Harry having to like, you know, he chases her down and he's so rageful, and then Voldemort's like, kill her, Harry, kill her, you can do it. And he has
Well,
to like,
the way she's running the whole time going, "I can see Sirius
yeah,
Black."
yeah.
Oh, it makes
Also
it worse,
just Bellatrix weirdly hot, I don't get it.
bro.
Weirdly hot. I don't know why.
The whole time you've been talking about this, I keep imagining them talking about this, like, from the 20th anniversary thing when, the general I don't remember their names.
Daniel
I'm so
Radcliffe.
bad at remembering actors' names. No. The gentleman who plays, Lucius Malfoy,
Yeah.
talking about, like, his working relationship with, chick who plays
Yeah.
Bellatrix. It's so interesting, like, when they talk about it, and, like, you're talking about how, like, she, like, kills him and then the way it runs away, and, like, I'm just remembering, like, "I can see her," like, her just, like,
Yeah.
uppity attitude, and how, like, it's so good when you think back about it.
Yeah. And
But
then
anyway, continue, I'm sorry.
obviously the fight between Voldemort and Dumbledore at the end there is great. I love the scenes where Voldemort creates like, this giant snake fire, and you know, he uses the glass around the ministry to attack Dumbledore, and Dumbledore, as the G that he is, stops it all because obviously he has the Elder Wand. One thing I also like or I don't know if it's a dislike or like just kind of a mess thing. The Ministry of Magic and how they're portraying this and how like they just frame Harry Potter into lying. I get why they're doing it because they don't want the notion of Voldemort be like coming back to scare everyone. So it loses faith in
Yeah.
the Ministry. So it's a good point there. I just love at the end the Minister of Magic comes in and he just sees Voldemort. He goes, "Oh, he's back." Like, dude, you can give a little bit more reaction than that. He's just, "Oh, he's back." Like, yeah,
Yeah.
dumbass. But they blamed Harry and said he was lying about everything. About
And Dumbledore. They framed
Yeah,
Dumbledore too.
and said
saying
Cedric
yeah.
Diggory, it was just a tragic accident. It's like, okay. Um,
Yeah, that I feel like that's what like made everyone so extreme is like because when they were doing all the training and everything and like his picture was up, like they're making it like he died for nothing and they didn't like that. It
yeah.
was bad.
I
Also, real quick before you move on, the talking about the pink lady, fucking her laugh, how every time we heard it, we kept going, "Oh, I fucking hate that."
yeah,
Her
yeah,
dude, oh,
yep.
I hated it so much.
I like Jared talked about earlier. I love the scenes where he kind of builds his army, and is training them, and you finally get to see Harry kind of go into this leadership role and say, "You know what? I'm tired of just standing by. Dumbledore's not helping us. I'm gonna go do it."
Yep.
So yeah, really good. What is your number two, Jared?
All right. My number 2 is movie number 6, The Half-Blood Prince.
Oh, okay.
Um, I really don't know what to say about this movie. It was you when we first got into it, you told me this is either everyone's favorite or everyone's least favorite movie.
Yeah, it's typically how it
Is how
goes.
you put it. And I was like, shit. So then
Yeah,
I felt like I had high expectations going into it because of that. Like I was like, oh fuck, this is gonna like hit or it's gonna suck. And I thought it was really good. Obviously with like what you said earlier, the way everything happens with Severus Snape and everything happens with Dumbledore. It's a great movie. Like putting aside the what we talked about with the visual effects of like it being kind of blurry in the side. Like if I ignore that, I really have a hard time finding anything like bad about this movie. Excuse me. This movie is, if I'm remembering correctly, the one where they have like the party, and when Hermione like gets upset and goes and sits in the stairway, and she's like just absolutely like distraught and so upset,
yep.
and Harry has to comfort her. That whole scene in that whole part just hits because like Ron is absolutely letting his fame of doing really well in the uh Quidditch, right?
Yes.
Like his fame there, like he go to his head, and got this little girlfriend, and like I don't know,
He used the love potion on him, by the way.
she oh that did she?
He did.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
I thought he only had it happen to him when he got poisoned and everything.
No, he had a love potion on him.
I did not know that. That's interesting. Okay, well, yeah, that's I must have missed that at some
Not
point.
at the
But yeah,
beginning,
anyway,
obviously, but like towards.
yeah. The the movie's whole Half Blood Prince is just so fucking good. I love how it starts up relatively similar to how like the rest of the movies are, like just school and everything, and that by the end of it, Dumbledore's fucking dead, and the Death Eaters are running. They blow up Hagrid's hut. It goes from it's when it hits like the end of Half Blood Prince, and is when you're like, fuck, like this is it. Like it started. Like this is the way the rest of the movies, like everything that happens from here on out is this dark and serious.
Yeah.
And I like that. Like I like that it's this slow build up, and like you talked about with Malfoy having his bigger part, and like I could go all day talk about every fucking scene from this movie and how much I love it and how much it adds to what the last two movies turn into. That being said, the reason I put this higher is because of how much I love the build up. I'm sorry, higher than part two. Because part two was great. I mean, I could rewatch all of Deathly Hallows Part Two and love every fucking second of it. And the same thing would go for Half Blood Prince here. But it's the build up, it's the suspense, it's just knowing what's happening, and like the Dumbledore trying to get Harry to help him find the Horcrux. Like it's just every fucking part so
That
good.
whole scene where he's
That's
having
my
to
number
like
two.
feed Dumbledore water that's like basically
Oh,
killing
that's
him.
right.
Yeah.
That's I was thinking about that earlier. I wanted to say it. Like you told me, like this is one of the most fucked up scenes. And I'm like, I remember what happens here. He has to drink something. Why is this
Yeah.
fucked up? And then rewatching it, I'm like, that's right. That's why it's so fucked up. He's like, please stop. You told me you have to, Professor. I'm sorry. You
Yeah.
just have to. And he's just like, oh. Like,
Yeah.
oh, so good. That's my number 2.
My number two is Harry Potter and the Deathly Hallows Part One. I'm gonna be honest with you.
Yeah.
My number two and one, it's like neck and neck. The only reason why I put this one at two is just because it is the setup movie to the payoff. Um, but I mean, I love everything about this. I love that the Horcrux is so evil that whoever's wearing it, it changes their personality over time, makes it more angry. Obviously, affects Ron when he leaves. I just love the fact that most of this movie is just Ron, Harry, and Hermione with each other in the woods, just kind of doing their own thing. And then obviously when Ron leaves, you get such a nice moment between Harry and Hermione where they're dancing together because she's sad, like she's obviously in love with Ron, and he leaves. And that moment where he's like, "Are you staying with Harry or are you going with me?" And she's like, "I, I have to stay with Harry." The heartbreaking moment. Um,
Yeah.
I think the way they figure out how the Horcruxes are great. I love the fact that the Sword of Gryffindor comes to Harry, and which we later find out Snape led him to with his
Patronus.
his Patronus, and the fact that Dumbledore gave Ron his Deluminator, which ended up helping him get back to save Ron or Harry. And I love that Ron is the one who kind of gets his big moment in the movies where he gets to destroy a Horcrux. He's sitting there, he's seeing, what the Horcrux is showing him, which is Hermione and Harry, kissing, doing their thing, and then he just comes and destroys it, yells,
The
he's
fact that
good.
they're like buck ass nude, by the way,
Yeah,
like it
I
gets
know.
fucking intense.
Yeah. I just I love the scenes where they use the um I just said the potion earlier. The potion where they can look like
Oh,
someone
you
else.
did. The golly jolly Polly.
Polyjuice, yes, Polyjuice potion. Um that whole scene where they have to go back into the Ministry of Magic as someone else, and Harry's like, "We gotta find Umbridge," and she just walks into the elevator, and they're both like
Yeah.
sitting there like, "What is going on?"
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, there's so much to say about this movie. When I think about this movie, because I saw this in theaters, and I just remember sitting there watching the ending, where Voldemort gets the Elder Wand. He goes to Dumbledore's uh grave and takes it, and you're like, holy shit! Like, it's
Yeah.
just it's one of those times where I feel like they convey that Dumbledore, or not Dumbledore, that the villain in general has the one up on the protagonist. I feel like a lot of movies don't really do that, or even if they do, like, it's such a they they make it to where like the hero can just overcome it, and like because he can do this all day, like that doesn't work for me in a lot of ways. And I feel like in when they show Voldemort getting the wand, it's like, oh shit, like it actually means a lot that he got the Elder Wand.
Yeah.
So great movie. I love the beginning of this where you are having
Oh, the wedding.
yes, sorry. But before that, they all have to become, or no, that's a different movie am I thinking of?
No, it's the beginning of part 1.
Yeah, yeah, where Mad Eye Moody dies. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah, because
yeah.
part 2 picks up right where part 1 left off.
Yes. And them having to become Harry, kind of risk their lives. You see George, I think, he gets hit in the
Here.
ear.
Yeah.
Also, another thing that hits is when Hermione has to do the Obliviate spell on her parents and like
Oh, I
remove
forgot
herself
about
from
that.
her, like, their lives. It's crazy. Um yeah, this movie's just great. Uh I also love the cafe scene where they're sitting there, and it kind of builds up to this moment where Harry sees them drop their wands and they kind of have that little battle there. It's just great overall. I love watching this movie. A lot of people don't like this one, or like they have it mid tier. I don't get it. This is like, out of all the movies, I think what makes me love them so much is just the relationship between those three. And this gives me that relationship more focused with Hermione,
Yep.
Ron, and Harry. So, what is your number one?
So my number 1 is the Deathly Hallows Part 1.
Okay.
Um I'll be honest with you. You pretty much, literally, the first thing you said was immediately you got right into everything I love about the movie, and so everything you just said, ditto. Just gonna say that like that. A few other things I will hit on though. The fucking like, I know I talked about how much I love the build up throughout all of Half Blood Prince and what it turns into in the last two movies.
Yeah.
But what I really love is there's that build up in that movie. You hit Deathly Hallows Part 1, and you jump in, and it's pretty much immediately action. It's, "All right, everyone's hairy now, fly," and it's just all of it. And also, one of the saddest deaths in all of the
I
movies.
didn't even talk about it. Oh my god. So much happens in these movies that it's
It
like,
really
so
does.
like there's so much good shit happening that I just forget about a lot of the other shit. Like I know you're not talking about this one. Hedwig dying.
That's exactly what I'm talking about. Hedwig, right at the
Oh,
beginning.
I thought you were talking about the other thing.
I am,
Okay.
essentially.
Okay.
Yeah, Hedwig immediately getting fucking murked, saving Harry is so heartbreaking.
Yep.
But like, continuing off where I was saying, you have all this action right off rip, and then it's like, oh, okay, we're all safe, we're at the wedding, it's all happy. And then, like, there was, don't get me wrong, the action at the beginning, okay, like, it amps it up to like a good 50, but then it goes back to zero. You know, we're at the wedding, it's calm, everything's happy, and then it goes from that zero to Death Eaters, so like just 0 to 100 in a fucking second. They're in London, about to get hit by a bus. They're at a cafe scene, like you just talked about. It just goes, they're on the fucking run, and it is so good. I love that, constantly trying to get away, constantly trying to stay one step ahead. Like you said, getting back into the ministry was this movie. Um, Harry, or the gentleman who plays Harry, like in the Polyjuice thing, I d- I kept saying it when we were watching it. I don't understand why he was fucking walking like that the
I
whole
know.
time.
Yeah.
It was driving me nuts. I'm like, why is he fucking walking like that? Just walk normal, dude. And he kept, like, just whatever it was just like a weird sidestep thing the whole time. It's driving me insane. But obviously we'll skip to the end and talk about what you're talking about. Fucking Dobby.
Rest in peace.
Dobby is Dobby is a happy elf
Yeah.
because Dobby has his friends.
Once again, Bellatrix killing another loved character.
Dude, I know. You know what? We're gonna go back to that, by the way. Deathly Hallows Part 2, like I was talking about earlier. One of the best things of that is the fact that, like, when, spoiler obviously, but Bellatrix, when she dies, it isn't who you would think killed her at all. It is, um I forget her name, but it's Ron's mom,
Yeah.
Mrs. Weasley. And I love the "not my daughter, you bitch," and just the huge retaliation there. Talking about, because obviously talking about Bellatrix and all the killing she's done. Yeah, Deathly Hallows Part 1 is a fantastic movie. It is absolutely my favorite out of all of them. Like you said before, like, people put this mid tier. I don't understand it. It is so good seeing just Ron, Harry, and Hermione out in the wilderness, and like when it is just Harry and Hermione, still great. Ron coming back is amazing. Everything that happens when Hermione and Harry are back in I forgot the name of it. I just had it on the tip of my tongue. The town where
Hogsmeade?
her Hogsmeade, thank you. Where his parents
Oh, not
gravestone is and
Hogsmeade.
everything. Yeah.
No,
Is it not?
Hogsmeade's the place where they go meet Aberforth. Aberforth.
Oh. Yeah,
Um,
wherever the headstones are in the cemetery, that whole scene
yeah.
it hits hard. It hits hard. Like the way, like, she thinks she finds a clue, and then
Godric's
she
Hollow.
has to go. Godric Hall, yeah. She thinks she finds a clue and then has to go, like, be there with Harry because he's sitting there staring at the gravestones, like, just fucking distraught, and it's Christmas. It's just such a good fucking movie.
Yeah.
It is, as much as I love part 2 for everything that happens, and, like, you get it's the satisfying ending, everything that happens in part 1 is just so good to me.
Yep.
That's my number 1.
My number one is Harry Potter and Deathly Hallows Part 2. Um,
Hey.
this, part one sets up part two so well, and part two just pays off everything.
Yeah.
Everything gets paid off here. Um, the pacing of this movie is fast. This movie doesn't feel like it's 2.5 hours. It feels like it's an
Oh, we
hour and a
kept saying
half.
that the whole time.
Because me and Jer were watching together, and we got like halfway through the movie, and I was like, "How are we already halfway through the movie? So much shit's happened."
Right?
Um,
Well, it been
obviously,
45 minutes. It was over an hour.
yes.
Nuts.
Them going to the bank vault to get the cup Horcrux. And Hermione having to be Bellatrix is a funny scene. 'Cause
Yeah.
she says like someone's one of the Death Eaters is like, oh, hello Bellatrix. She goes, good morning, and the guy's like, good morning. Are you trying to get us killed? Um, yeah, I mean the action in this movie is phenomenal. I love that when Snape dies, which also rest in peace of Snape, great character. I
Oh,
love that they get
forgot about that.
my favorite scene probably in this movie is the fact that they get to like go and see Snape's memories
Yes.
and scene where he walks into Harry's house and he sees Lily dead, the love of his life, and just seeing him in that emotional pain, it hurts so bad. This is also the movie where we find out Harry has to die because he's a Horcrux, and
Yep.
Harry having to sit there and deal with that inner turmoil. Um,
The whole train station scene with him and Dumbledore.
yeah,
That that fucking oh.
I love the scene which Jared kind of alluded to, where Harry infiltrates the castle and he fights the twins and Snape, and Professor McGonagall comes and fights Snape. I love the scene like that proceeds after that, where you can see all the students like going everywhere and everyone's getting ready to fight, and then you see like Professor McGonagall does that spell, and you see the castle guards just drop, and when they drop, it just hits so it's so like
It's so
it
fucking
just it
good.
brings you up. Um, and
I
then
will say I love her performance
oh yeah,
in Deathly Hallows Part 2. She's great in all the movies, but she is so fucking good.
wait, she has so many good lines. Like when I forget what the one guy his name is, but he goes like he who shall not be named. He goes, oh no, you can say his name. It's Voldemort. He's gonna come and try to kill you anyways
Yes.
and use it. It's just so good, and I think also the fact that, which I alluded to earlier when I was talking about part one and Half Blood Prince, the whole wand thing makes a lot of sense to me. The fact that like you have
Shit,
to
yeah.
uh win it off someone for it to be yours. And I love the twist that the most powerful wand was Malfoy's, and he never knew because he was the one that disarmed Dumbledore. And the fact
Yeah.
that Voldemort, he felt like he knew, but he still just didn't care. He had all this rage behind him. He just wanted to kill Harry Potter. Um, Obviously, the scene before Harry Potter dies, where he has the resurrection stone and he sees Sirius, his mom, his dad, Professor Lupin, and he gets to have like this one-on-one with all of them. It's very sad. Also, Professor Lupin dying sucks. I really love him. And Fred dying, the other twin, I think it's Fred who dies. Fred
Yeah,
or
I think
George.
you're right.
That's also hard to deal with. And Harry's sitting there like, man, like this is my fault,
Yep.
So yeah, and then Voldemort gets to like kill Harry Potter. He kind of gets his payoff, right? He did what he wanted to do in all the movies, and which we talked about the train scene, so I'll just kind of skip over that. And then you get back to the castle, and Voldemort's sitting there thinking he won, and Neville steps up and he gives
Fucking Neville.
this slapper of a fucking speech. And he's like, Harry, just because he's dead doesn't mean he's not here with us. He's in here. He's in here.
It doesn't matter if he's dead.
Yeah, he didn't die in vain. And then I love when he pulls out the sword and Harry drops to the ground and Voldemort looks at him. He just that face he gets on him. He's like, oh shit. Yeah.
He goes, fireball, fireball.
Yeah. Their whole battle, the fact that Harry's getting chased throughout the castle. I love that there's like, they don't really. I feel like a lot of movies will do this. It's like there's the timing of the scenes where Voldemort's not. He can't be killed yet. The snake's not dead, and this. So they're constantly switching from Harry and Voldemort fighting to Ron and Hermione trying to kill the snake. Also, Ron and Hermione got their little romantic moment in the Chamber of Secrets where they finally kissed. And then with the snake part, you think Ron and Hermione are about to get killed by the snake, and fucking Neville, man, he comes in there, he swings that sword, and he kills the snake, and Voldemort's like, oh shit. And then Harry and Voldemort have their final duel, and Voldemort dies. Harry gets the Elder Wand. Jared talked about the Bellatrix Lestrange death, which I think is cool. One thing I don't like that they did with these, I get they kind of have to PG it. In the books, like when the characters die, their bodies just fall over. I don't care for when the Death Eaters die, they just kind of turn into ash. I don't know why. I just prefer to see his body fall over. Like that would just it would have I don't know why. I just would have preferred that. I don't care for seeing him have his little like facial thing and he goes to like ash. And same thing with Bellatrix. She gets the same thing. She just turns into ash. I want to see
Well,
her
but
fucking bud.
they petrified Bellatrix. Like she got petrified, and she broke her because she was
Well,
petrified.
right, but not Voldemort. He did the same thing.
Yeah, Voldemort
So
didn't. Yeah, that's
I
fair.
just feel like it would have paid off better for me just to see that.
That's
Um,
fair.
but man, everything about this movie, it all pays off. It's very fast. It doesn't feel like 2.5 hours. The fight scenes are the best out of the whole fucking series. The stories, the character development, it's just amazing. And what I love about Harry Potter, which I told Jared while we were watching this, is they give so much shine to these little characters that other franchises don't ever do. People like Neville, right?
Yeah,
People like Ginny. They give the
famous.
shine, yeah, Seamus, around and give them their own moments. Cedric Diggory, uh, Moaning Myrtle,
Luna
like
Lovegood.
yeah, Luna Lovegood. A lot of films and a lot of series don't do that. They just kind of focus on like the main one, two, or three. And Harry Potter really says, no, this is a school. And I've always loved that about the movies. That final fight doesn't ever feel like it's just Harry versus Voldemort. It's Hogwarts and the good side versus Voldemort and the bad side. And that's how
Yeah.
like I've always felt, and that's what I love about these movies. It was a blast watching them. I didn't fucking sit there at there was not a single time where I said I want like let's watch a movie and I was ever like, man, I don't want to watch this. Every
Yep.
time I wanted to watch the movie, and even once we started, I was like, man, thank God I watched this. It was
Yeah.
great. But
Yeah, we definitely have to, like I said, we got to rewatch these every year, every other year because they're
yeah,
fucking great. Gotta make a thing of it.
yep. I don't even know what franchise we're gonna do next. Have we done Spider-Man? Did we do Spider-Man a few months ago?
We just ranked them like a month ago. Yeah,
Okay, yeah.
with right when No Way Home came out, we just ranked them
Okay.
all.
I mean,
I mean,
we've
we
done
could do
Star
Lord of the
Wars.
Rings. Oh, we done Star Wars. What, you don't like Lord of the Rings?
I don't like them. I like
I love
they're
Lord of the
decent
Rings.
movies. Don't get me wrong. I just
So
don't
good.
enjoy them, and I'm never putting myself through watching The Hobbit again. I
Oh,
watched
I'll
all
never watch
three of
Hobbit.
those. I just, ugh,
Not worth it.
yeah,
Lord of the Rings, like that's what I think I made that comment when we finished these movies. Like Harry Potter immediately jumped up to ranking like as good as Lord of the Rings and a few other like Star Wars, all that
yeah.
for me. Because like I used to not care for Harry Potter. I used to be like, yeah, it's it's good and I like it, but rewatching it and everything that I've like come to love about movies and games and music through the podcast, like it brought so much like more perspective and such a greater appreciation for these movies that
Yep.
they're great and yeah,
You know what
awesome.
we're gonna do next?
Uh-oh.
We're gonna do Christopher Nolan movies.
What?
We're gonna do Christopher Nolan movies.
Christopher Nolan movies.
Yep, he is a director, my
Ah,
favorite director.
that's all right.
That's gonna be Memento, The Prestige, Batman Begins, The Dark Knight, Dark Knight Returns,
There's already too many
Inception,
movies I've heard I don't want to watch. I'm okay.
Interstellar, and then Tenet.
Well, you said Interstellar, so I
Oh,
guess we'll
and
watch them.
what is it? It has oh my god, I'm forgetting. I know the movie and I could see all the actors' names. Robin Williams is in it. Al Pacino's in it. Really good movie. Hold on.
I don't even know.
It is called Insomnia. Duh.
No.
That's a really good movie.
Dude, you know what we should do before the Christopher Nolan movies?
What?
We should do all the Transformer movies, the Michael Bay
Oh,
Transformers. Dude, it's been like a fucking minute since I've watched all those. Probably it's been longer since I've seen those since before, like since Harry Potter. I think it's been longer than that.
dude, I like the first two I can watch. Once three comes up, I won't want to watch it because three takes out Megan Fox and it's just bad immediately.
Oh, really? Is it that quick that
Yeah.
it comes out?
Three is just no Megan Fox. Movie's already trash. And
Hmm.
four, Shia LaBeouf's gone. It's Mark Wahlberg. And even then, the movie's not good at all. And then five's even worse than four.
Never seen 5. I don't remember 3 or 4. I barely remember 2, and
Four was
I remember Age
Age
of
of
Extinction.
Extinction with the dinosaurs.
Yeah,
Five was when Optimus Prime turned bad.
never seen it.
So yeah,
That's why we should watch them.
oh,
Throw Bumblebee in there too.
that was all right.
Watch Herbie or whatever the fucking movie is with the beetle, the white beetle car, just for shits and giggles.
That's not even a Transformer.
I know, but it's a car that's alive, so
That's not the same thing though.
yeah. Well,
These
it's
are like
close enough.
robot aliens that turn into cars.
Yeah, but it's a magic car. It's close enough.
Are we talking about the Herbie with Lindsay Lohan?
Yes.
All right, maybe we'll watch it because she was hot. In it.
just for shits and giggles, we'll throw Herbie in there.
Yeah. We'll do Transformers. Let's do Christopher Nolan first because his is definitely longer to get through.
Yeah.
What two movies did you not want to watch?
I don't know. Whatever you listed first.
Okay, so Memento was first.
Yeah, never heard of it. Don't want to watch it.
It's a movie that's really cool. It's told backwards. That's all I can tell you.
Okay.
And then The Prestige, which is a
Yeah,
phenomenal
never heard of
movie.
it. Don't want to see it.
No, phenomenal
not worth
movie. It has magic in it.
And then the first Batman, don't want to watch that one, but we can watch the second one. And the third Batman, don't want to watch that either.
It has Tom Hardy as Bane.
Yeah, which is cool and all, but other than that, and then you said some other shit that I didn't care about. Inception's okay, and I heard Interstellar.
And then Tenet.
Yeah, fuck Tenet. I don't need to watch that.
Dude. Oh, I have we haven't done this podcast in a while. Hold on. I was talk about what you were gonna say. Give me 1 second.
Okay, well, since he's gone, I actually am very interested in watching all these movies, but he doesn't get to fucking know that because I want him to think I don't want to see any of these movies because I said the same thing about Harry Potter. So yeah, basically, I just think that the movies are going to be ass, and that's why I don't want to watch them. But hopefully, I'm proven wrong. We'll see.
Yeah. So I've been
I heard
updating.
everything you said.
I've been updating the podcast on the 4K movies I've been buying. I bought the Spider-Man trilogy on 4K that comes out February 8th, which is the Tobey Maguire 3. And then I get No Way Home on Steelbook in March. But I got Who Framed Roger Rabbit in 4K.
That's right.
Which was a fun watch. I haven't seen this movie in years. It's a really good 4K. Yeah, so this was really good. It was made by Fox, but Disney, since they bought Fox, they put it out. Thank God this is what Fox did and not Disney did because they ruined Pirates of the Caribbean. And then, honestly, one of the best 4Ks I own. This movie sounds amazing and looks phenomenal. No Time to Die. On 4K. The final Daniel Craig James Bond movie.
I need to see that, dude. Fuck.
I had the digital code. We could watch it at some point.
But I need to see that. I want to watch all the other ones first.
I have all the other ones too.
Oh, are we gonna do James Bond and then Christopher Nolan?
We'll do James Bond and Christopher Nolan. This movie almost made me cry. It was so sad. Yeah.
Well, Daniel Craig's a pussy, so I don't know why I'd make you cry. I'm just kidding.
That's Bond.
I'm just kidding. Oh God.
Yeah, this 4K was amazing. Next week I'll have the Dune 4K. I just didn't buy it this week.
Is that the new Dune?
Yeah, which I watched on HBO Max, but I want the 4K because the disc apparently is.
Wait, it's on HBO Max?
Yeah, it's been on HBO Max since it dropped in theaters.
Oh my God, I don't pay attention to things. I need to watch that.
It was phenomenal. Denis Villeneuve, who directs that movie, directed Blade Runner 2049.
This has dude. It's Jason Momoa's in this, right? That's the name, or picture. Fuck.
It's Zendaya, Timothy Chalamet, Josh Brolin, Oscar Isaac, Jason Momoa, Rebecca Ferguson, and Dave Bautista.
Really?
He's in Blade Runner 2049 as well. He actually has a acting stuff. Yeah, it's crazy.
He's not just Drax, the Destroyer.
No, he's actually in other movies. Yeah. Also, this movie, Ana de Armas in it. She slaps.
Who's Ana de Armas?
She's an actor or actress.
Is she the new 007?
No, that's no. She's just very attractive and She looks good
Okay.
in this movie. Um,
I'm sure that'll be something we're googling later. I mean, what?
yes. She's also in Blade Runner 2049. And she's naked in that one. So, uh,
Uh,
Jerry,
Anna to what?
Discord, like when you click my name, how it shows like that moving image.
Yeah.
That's her. It's from Blade Runner 2049.
It doesn't show that moving image anymore because yes, it does. I thought you just had the Firewatch thing. I forgot your little header
Yes.
there. So what's my little header?
So this, like, even if you're not a fan of the 007s, like, if you collect 4K at all or you're interested in 4K format, like, this is a movie to fucking buy on 4K. It was phenomenal.
Hey,
And
by the way,
yeah,
did you know that Jordan fucking got on?
good for Jordan.
Fucking
And
son of a
who
bitch.
framed Roger Rabbit's also a really good one. Still holds up, which is cool. But yeah, that's all I bought 4K wise.
Well,
Yeah,
if we're catching people up on stuff that's happened since the last time we recorded, another thing I'm going to talk about because I fucking want to is we got back into Destiny, and I don't think we were playing it the last time we put an episode of the podcast out.
sure.
Were we? Did we talk about it?
Yes.
Oh, well then fuck me. Did I talk about the AR I got? I don't think so because I don't think I had the
No,
scope for it yet
no.
or the site. Well, just anyone who likes our fucking gun episodes that we've done, keep an eye out for some new shit coming. Got an AR for Christmas. 223556. Keep an eye out. We might put another one of those episodes out.
Yes. So yeah, that is it for this week. Do we want to announce what we're doing for next week, or do we just want to kind of make it a surprise?
I mean, that depends. Are we releasing it early because of when we're recording it, or is it going to be
I'm still
same
gonna
release?
release it Friday. The next week, if you're on SoundCloud or like Spotify or like a digital platform listening to this, you are going to need to watch this on YouTube.
Yeah,
We're
it's going to
gonna
be a
do
rough watch or
well, it's gonna be
listen.
a rough just listening to episode. We're doing a mukbang with me, Jared, our friend Chad, and our friend David. And we're just gonna kind of shoot the shit, just talk about random stuff. Nothing's gonna be planned. We're just gonna kind of talk, eat some food,
It's
and
gonna be it's gonna be really interesting.
we're
I feel like
really
this is gonna be
excited
the first
about it.
time we're diving in without any plan whatsoever.
Yeah,
Like the only like scripted or planned out part is we're gonna talk a little bit about our
movie
movie
podcast.
awards,
Yeah,
the movie award podcast, like a quick run over that, and then it's gonna be us shoving food in our faces while bullshitting, which I
yeah,
I, I really think it's gonna be fun because it's just gonna be four bros just doing whatever. I think it could be fun. I think getting like okay, so for it's the four of us for sure right now. We did invite, I think, our friend Cody and our friend Jordan in. I
they
don't
won't be
know
in.
if I mean they probably won't, but it'd be cool to get more people in. Just the more people in merrier, just to bullshit. But we'll see. It's
Yep. So
gonna be a lot of
yes,
fun.
if you want to hear chewing, you can also, I mean, ASMR, I guess, as well. That will be
Well,
for your listening pleasures. By
might be a tease. We might also be considering doing an ASMR podcast. I don't know if that was a meme or not, but
I mean, I feel like we would just like make an ASMR episode, like, but we'd also like release a regular podcast episode too.
I mean, it'd be like the whole time we'd be like, "All right, guys, this week we have a little bit more news about Hogwarts Legacy." There's like something like that.
We could do screaming ASMR.
Oh fuck no, dude! I don't want to have a sore throat. That'd be so bad,
Yeah.
so bad. Yeah,
Alrighty.
keep an
Well,
eye out, guys. Next week, same
yes.
time as usual, but mukbang podcast.
Mukbang
So
podcast. Let us know
that'll be fun.
your Harry Potter rankings down below. Um, don't flame us for ours. Make sure you like, subscribe, share. If you're on iTunes, Spotify, SoundCloud, like, follow, comment, share, and we'll see you next
Favorite,
week.
whatever it is for iHeart. I don't know if you said that one.
Yeah, I think
Favorite.
iHeart's just follow. I'm pretty sure it
Yeah.
might be favorite. I don't know. If you listen to Pandora, because you're stuck in like 2012, go ahead and like us.
Oh wow, that God, I feel pretty personally attacked there.
You still listen to Pandora?
I occasionally dabble
You're
back into
weird.
my old
You're
ass
weird.
playlist.
You're
It's just
weird.
to do
You're
it. I don't
weird.
pay for you.
You're
Fuck
weird.
you. Back when I used it in 2012, I sometimes go, "Oh, this is what I used to listen to."
Yeah. It's fucking just like
Yeah.
Ninja Sex Party over and over again.
Hey, whoa, NSP is great. Don't hate.
Not hating. I'm just saying that's what it was gonna be.
I have multiple playlists of them on Spotify. Come on now.
I was just saying that's what it probably would be.
No,
My
it's actually a
like,
lot of like comedy stand-ups. So they a one stand-up skit split into like 6 parts, and they're just randomly
uh,
tossed around.
it
That's
just
what that
cuts in
was.
between the jokes.
More or less, like between punchlines. It sucks, but it's what
Nothing
I
but
used to do.
Captain Sparkle's Minecraft parodies.
I
Take
mean, some
back
of
the
those in
night,
there.
dude. Those slap still.
They really do.
Alrighty, we'll see you guys next week.
Yeah.
Appreciate it.
See you guys.